All right, welcome guys to the Casual EAL. Tonight we've got ARNY versus Mexico 2 in the Noxian division. I'm Randemonium here with ZZ Dog as my co-caster. How are things going, ZZ Dog?
Pretty good. Alright, getting right into picking bands already. Okay.
All right, let's get into pick and bans real fast.
Looks like they're throwing a lot of target towards top side on the side of Arnie.
Yeah, I think that's a very good call. Mexico 2's top laner, XLR, he is kind of the rock of that team. They definitely play through him a lot. And on Arnie's side, their bot laner is probably one of their best players. He definitely played really well in week one. So you can see that they're targeting that Jinx ban. He definitely popped off on that Jinx pick in week one.
Yeah, I think the J4 is a smart band too. Looking at Regulator Solo Queue, he's been playing a lot of that Jarvan. Really likes to get those early skirmishers out, so that's a smart band too.
And guys in the chat, if we've been having issues with the audio, so definitely let us know if the chat is or the audio is too loud or too quiet, and we will adjust it once we get into the game, things like that. So we got the Yumi band coming out on Arnie's side, a Sivir band. So again, Mexico 2 is really targeting Rudolph from the Arnie bot lane, and Arnie picks up the Varus as the first pick. What do you think about that?
I think if they definitely want to play through bot lane, it's a smart pick. It's pretty strong in lane, especially if you pair it with something like the Tom Kench, and it's also really good for scaling into late game. So I think it's a pretty good pickup if that's what they want to play through.
So it looks like they're going to pick up the Sejuani for Limelight. Last week he played Nunu both games, and he definitely struggled a little bit. I think the Sejuani might be a little bit easier for him to execute. And we got the Vladimir, who could go either top or mid, so that's kind of a good flex pick.
Yeah, and I think that if you're trying to protect that top side, having a good flex pick that you can flex around and little mitigate some of those bad matchups is a pretty smart thing to do in round one. Going for the Maokai actually for Arn.
This could actually be a flex pick into support. Their support senpai, he actually plays a lot of really off meta picks, and Maokai is actually one of them. So I'm actually predicting this is going to be a Maokai support coming out.
That would be pretty interesting to go with Varus. I don't know how Maokai Varus as a lane goes personally. I feel like that's not a very strong combination, but I guess we'll see. The Yasuo coming through.
The Yasuo came out. I'm almost positive this is going to go to Avery in the top lane. Yasuo is one of his most played champions. So yeah, that kind of confirms, or it's more indicative that that's a support Maokai with a top Yasuo.
I feel like if that's what they wanted to do, they maybe should have hold off and maybe feint the flex a little bit more, but I guess can see how that matchup goes for him. Especially, I think Yasuo into Vladimir is Yasuo favored early, but Vladimir definitely has the scaling advantage. They're breaking up the Zyra Khan, which I think is pretty smart, especially if you're playing Varus Maokai. Zyra Khan, I feel, definitely has the stronger 2v2 there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that Zaya ban. That's really, really smart. Actually surprised that they went for the Rakan as that last pick before the second ban phase. Mexico 2 side, they're banning out the Lee Sin. That's one of Regulator's top jungle picks. So it looks like they're trying to attack his jungle pool. And it looks like they banned out the Nautilus to try and ban out something from Senpai and support.
So, yeah, I think I would expect the Rek'Sai to come out for jungle from Arnie then, because I think it fits with his early skirmishing playstyle. And it also gives a little bit of help to the Yasuo. It's not the big AoE knockup that you might like, but it's good for picking out. Oh, and there's the Veigar. We were talking about that earlier, that both mid lanes like that Veigar, and since the Vladimir might still be flex top lane, it's a good pick to pick away from Mexico 2.
Yeah, I really like that Veigar pick. If you got a blind pick, you might just go with your comfort pick in the mid lane, which is the Veigar. Takes it away also from Mexico 2. We got the Callista coming out on Mexico 2 side, so that's a Callista Rakan bot lane. Definitely unconventional. We don't usually see a lot of Callista play, especially in lower elos.
I do think it's a pretty good 2v2 lane, though, if they play it right. I do think actually the Maokai, though, is pretty good into the Callista, because you can really lock her down with that W that tracks even through the jump.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
So it might be a little bit of a struggle down there. And Vladimir is going to be swapped mid. Okay, so we have Darius into Yasuo top, and I'm presuming the Gragas is jungling and not the Maokai, though I
Yep.
guess both are possible.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be the Gragas in the jungle, Maokai support, Yasuo's going top lane. So we're going to have a Yasuo versus Darius matchup in the top lane. That's going to be a lot of hype going on in that top lane matchup. XLR is definitely the type of guy who either gives up first blood or he gets it. So it's going to be very interesting to see if there's going to be some early jungle pressure.
And then we got the Vladimir Veigar lane. That feels like it's going to be really passive. I don't expect too much jungle attention there either, because it's really hard as a Sejuani to gank a Veigar because of the baby cage, and it's really hard for Gragas to gank Vladimir because of the pool. So I feel like they might just leave that alone, because both of those mid laners want to scale up as well, so they'd probably just be fine farming on both sides.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think it's going to wind up being a farm lane and mid lane unless one person really over pushes. I definitely think that top lane it could swing violently one way or the other. But I definitely think that the win condition for ARNY is going to be through that bot lane. And it's going to be interesting to see whether or not they can get XLR ahead in top lane for Mexico too.
Yeah, I think that Gragas also really enables that Varus Maokai lane. It's really hard for Kalista to really avoid ganks. Like, Rakan helps with that a bit, but if Kalista likes to push up a lot, and if you don't have that proper communication of where that Gragas is, it's very easy for Maokai Gragas to just pile on that Kalista and just CC and lock her down really easily. So hopefully they can really get that vision out early. Otherwise, I feel like it could sway really heavily to the side of ARNY.
Yeah, definitely. Kallista's also can be quite strong in lane, but the Varus also has some pretty good lane prowess. So it's going to be very interesting to see how aggressive both lanes wind up being. I think that a lot of the jungle matchup is also going to be extremely important. I know that both these junglers definitely have some questions coming in, so it's going to be interesting to see who they prioritize, how they path, how they help get their teams ahead in the early game.
I'm also interested to see what keystone that we wind up going with on the Kalista, because there are a lot of variations you can do. You can go the lethal tempo if you want a lot of damage mid game. Hail of Blades is really good for lane, but I actually think Fleet Footwork might be her best bet into that team, because kiting will be really essential into like Yasuo, Maokai, Gragas. So
Yeah,
I'm interested to see what they go with there.
Yeah, Hail of Blades is definitely for a stronger laning phase. Fleet Footwork definitely could help more with the kiting, and then Lethal Tempo would be kind of for like the raw burst damage, basically, to get that huge attack speed steroid. They are also setting up pretty well for the potential Yasuo attacks with between the Maokai Q, the Gragas, Cask, things like that. There's a lot of ways that Yasuo can get that knock-up, so he can get a really strong ultimate into a team fight.
I would be really surprised if these mid laners keep the summoners they have right now. I feel like Ignite is not the right choice for either of them. I feel like Teleport is better for both.
Yeah, I think I actually agree with you on that one. You're not going to... I mean, you go Ignite if you want to try and get kills in the mid lane. I don't think either of these players are going to be able to kill the other. It should wind up being a farm lane as long as each player plays it smart. So yeah, Teleport could have been a better choice to get those better recall timers off.
Let's see. We have Mishmash Summoners for support too. We have Ignite for the Maokai and Exhaust for the Rakan. I feel like that should be swapped around, honestly.
Yeah.
Kalista Rakan feels like it wants to go aggressive, take the Ignite, go for the kills early. Maokai Vars I don't think has that kill threat early. I think that you go Exhaust, and especially into Kalista, Exhaust really ruins her.
Oh,
like
definitely.
your jumps just get so slow. Actually,
All right.
I feel like Veigar actually would take Cleanse. I think that the Sejuani is the only thing you have to really be afraid of.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Cleanse would actually basically guarantee that that lane would be almost ungankable between the baby cage and the Cleanse. One thing I'm also really interested in is that if ARNY is able to set up around a neutral objective like Baron or Drake, it's going to be very hard for Mexico 2 to face check into it between the Maokai ultimate and the Veigar baby cage. So yeah, I think that those choke points are going to be really important. Setting up that vision control, getting to those objectives early is really going to determine the tempo of the match. And it's going to be interesting to see if teams are going to be willing to give up objectives if they're late to them, or if they're going to try to face check into that vision, face check into those checkpoints, or if they're going to go more for trading objectives instead.
Looking at these comps, they definitely feel like scrappy teams. I feel like both teams really do like to team fight.
Mm-hmm.
So I would expect them to contest if they're late. I don't see either team really wanting to trade especially much. Unless they're behind, I guess, but like looking at the Sejuani, Darius, Vladimir, that's definitely really strong once you hit 6. Kalista strong early. I think the Veigar, if they get to the objective first, is really good at zoning out, especially with the Gragasar. So, I don't know. I feel like, especially if you get the TPs in, it's just a pretty even 5v5.
Yeah. So for the stakes for this game, right now Mexico 2 is 1-1. ARNY is 0-2. If Mexico 2 is able to 2-0 this series, then they'll wind up being tied for first place with HTS Gaming and Kamikaze Penguins. If ARNY is able to 2-0, then they're going to be tied for third place with Galactic Pirates. So there's definitely quite a few stakes. There's quite a few things at stake for this game, depending on which team is able to come out on top.
Yeah, I do expect it to be a pretty close one, too. Both these teams feel pretty evenly matched.
All right, we've got 1 more minute left on the spectator delay. Definitely let us know in chat, who do you think is going to win, ARNY or Mexico 2? This is game 1 of a best-of-2 series. The teams have locked in. We've got Yasuo in the top lane, Gragas jungle, Veigar mid lane, Varus as AD carry, and Maokai as support on ARNY's side. And on Mexico 2 side, Darius top lane, Sejuani in the jungle, Vladimir mid, Kalista bot lane, and Rakan as support. Both top laners are taking teleport. Both mid laners are taking ignite. And then the support, the Maokai is taking ignite, and the Rakan is taking exhaust. So who would you if you were the jungler for both of these teams, where would you be going where would you be starting and where would you be going for your first gank?
I would expect both to probably start top side and path bot for that bottom scuttle, actually, because I think bot lane is the most contested lane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, top lane is obviously going to be really skirmish heavy, but I think that bot lane actually decides this one, because the Varus is going to hard outscale the Kalista, and that I still have no idea how this lane would naturally play out. I feel like it's Kalista favored, so if you don't come down to stop that Kalista, she's probably going to get a pretty decent lead over Varus, and I think that Yasuo is actually slightly weaker into Darius, though I think it is a skill matchup, so I would expect that the Gragas would definitely be more active early, while the Sejuani may just look to farm up.
Oh, and very curiously, the Gragas has gone for the Aftershock instead of the Predator. So that's definitely a bit of an abnormal Keystone rune choice. And the Darius also went for Aftershock.
The Kalista went for press the attack. That's the weirdest one to me. Like, I think Gragas without Predator is okay. The Predator's definitely better. But if you're looking to really get in there early, like pre-level 3, then I guess the Aftershock is better for that little bit of burst damage, especially if you're going for Darius, who can really heal through those early ganks.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of see the Aftershock. The Aftershock Darius is a bit weird to me. I feel like Conqueror is better, but Press the Attack Kalista to me is just suboptimal. I think Hail of Blades is better if you want the early aggression. Lethal Tempo scale is better, and Fleet Footwork is probably better for kiting, though honestly Lethal Tempo is just as good for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the motivation behind the Press the Attack is, but I'd be curious to hear it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Press the Attack could be useful in those team fights with the Runaan's bolts. You can get that debuff on multiple champions. But yeah, it would definitely not be the rune that I would expect them to go. So it's going to be very curious to see how people are going to path. It looks like the Sejuani is starting on red side, and the Gragas is also starting on red side. So I'm going to be interested to see if they go for the 3-camp clear on the red quadrant of the jungle into a gank, or if they're going to go for a more traditional red to blue buff clear. Also, curiously, it didn't look like either team really kind of went into a traditional 5-point. They're kind of grouping up a little bit differently. So yeah, potential chances to exploit that coming into game 2 if both teams have a chance to review the game prior to game 2.
Maokai's going for those cheeky saplings on bot side river. Yeah, I think it's pretty smart getting that one in the river, especially. Like, it's probably not going to get you anything. It's most likely going to expire, especially since Sejuani's starting top side. But, you know, yeah, it's already gone. Never mind. Did get a little bit of chunk onto Vladimir, though. He'll probably be fine, though. Q once in lane, he'll be back with the full.
Good trade onto the Callista early. Varus wanted to lane that Q. Sapling's coming down. Good buffer by the Rakan. Gragas is pathing towards top side. Sejuani is going for that red side clear into a potential gank in top lane. She's cleared out her red buff and her Raptors. Maokai goes in because they got the level 2 advantage, and they're able to disengage. So definitely a good job from the ARNY bot lane to get level 2 first, and they're able to punish it a little bit.
Top lane doesn't look like any trading's really going on up there yet.
Yeah, I definitely think that we're going to be looking for the next place that there's going to be action is potentially in top lane. That gank in top lane is looking pretty juicy for the Gragas if he wants to go for it.
Sedge is also in the area for a counter gank too, so might get pretty bloody if the Gragas does decide to go in. He's looking for it.
Yeah, it looks like Gragas is going for that top scuttle, but the Darius has got lane priority, so he's going to have to give that up. I think the Gragas should be looking to go for a mid lane gank and then go into the bottom crab instead. But he winds up going in.
Right around the scuttle.
Yeah,
Vladimir also has lane priority. He should be roaming up.
Yep.
He is, and Darius is coming down. But
Sejuani smites for health. She's able to get out.
Yeah, I think Gragas is fine here.
Yeah,
Baby Cage comes down. That what? Sejuani?
Ooh, the flash
and
the ignite comes down.
That was a bit of a mistake. One little bit too far forward there, but I think nope, Gragas does get out. Maybe not.
One more ability could do it. He cannot get it down. Darius is really chasing for this. Though he's not really losing much because the wave is pretty much pushed under tower. So actually the Yasuo is losing a lot of experience and gold as a result.
Yeah, that's a little bit tragic for the Yasuo. He roams down to try and get something out of it, but just winds up missing about a wave and a half of CS, it looked like.
Yep. Yeah, and if you look at the actual CS difference, it's only about 6 right now. So if he had been able to stay under tower, he most likely would have a CS lead at this point in the game.
Let's see here. Bot lane, actually, Varus is up a wave and a half, and it looks like the wave is going to bounce into him here. Nope, they are hard driving it. Okay. Vladimir's up 16 CS mid lane.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Veigar wound up going for the tier, so he's definitely going to not have any early game power to start things off. So
he does have that early kill, though, which does level out the gold a bit.
Yeah, so it's going to wind up being that the Veigar is definitely going to want to go for a farm lane, so it's going to be interesting to see if there's any more of these Ripper fights, how they're going to be able to rotate to stop them. They've got some really good, strong vision on the bot side river. I don't think Sejuani is going to be able to gank. She's actually walking over a ward right now. So yeah, definitely nothing to be gained, even though the Varus and Maokai are pushed up. Darius is rotating down. He's looking for a potential gank onto this Veigar.
Veigar has the baby cage and also has red buff. I don't think there's any way Darius gets close enough to him.
No, definitely not.
He's doing away the scuttle.
Interesting.
I mean, it is going to help him get a little bit of a CS lead, I guess. He gets 4 CS in his pocket. And
looks like Darius might be going in for an engage. Sejuani's going for an engage on mid.
Looks like nothing comes out of top lane. Mid lane, nothing comes out of that either. Yeah, it just looks like ARNY is just falling pretty far behind in CS and top and mid, but
Sejuani's moving for a gank in top lane right now. Yasuo backs off.
Yasuo has flash, he's fine. Might have to burn it though.
It's going to be very...
Actually, no. I think he might.
Yeah.
Nope, they don't flash after.
Flash from the Callista, ignite down. Rakan should be able to get out. And he is able to hold on to both his flash and his exhaust.
So Flash is down for Callista. Flash is also down for Yasuo. So I feel like the jungles are probably going to split the map here.
Yep, I definitely think that Sejuani wants to keep prioritizing the top lane. Gragas should be looking for something in bot lane. Gragas is coming over the wall.
Gragas is actually coming top lane. He wants to mitigate that damage that was done earlier. That's a bit of a tragic body slam there.
Yep. They still might be able to get the kill. They have to make sure that they don't get the...
going to expend that flash. Doesn't look like it.
Yep, there it is. There's the flash. And for some reason, the Gragas is not continuing to chase.
I think he's just... Yeah, Yasuo can get this.
There we go.
Yep.
So it's a kill for the Yasuo.
Yeah, and that pretty much evens out the gold there after the minion deficit, so that's nice to see for the Yasuo.
Yep.
Bot lane is really snowballing out of control here for ARNY, though. They're up 16 CS.
Yeah, I definitely think that bot lane is the win condition for ARNY. So it's good to see that they're ahead. That definitely bodes well for them. Unfortunately, the Darius is starting to get behind.
Yeah, it's just got a plate bot lane too, so I think that puts it's about a 500 gold advantage for the Varus, I think.
Unfortunately, the Varus is not backed yet, so if they overstay, there is a potential for an engage when they have that item deficiency.
I'm assuming he's... Oh, they're actually mobilizing for Dragon here, I think.
Looks like they might at least contest the scuttle, but yeah, it looks like they are going on to the Drake. This is a bit ambitious, especially since the Varus is at a fight of advantage.
That bot side jungle either. Doesn't look like they...
Mexico 2 is pinging it out. They have a feeling that they know that they're there.
Well, okay, well now it's gone. Can they get something in return though?
Rakan goes in, Sejuani's coming down. That's the cast and the Maokai ultimate. TP coming in from the Darius. Varus is definitely caught. Oh, he flashes over the wall.
Maokai flashes out as well. Maokai, I think, is probably dead here.
Winds up being able to get out.
The auto and the heal off. And Vladimir goes... Oh, that's unlucky.
That was actually very well played by ARNY, able to get the Drake and get out. It was a risky play, but Mexico 2 was just a little bit slow in the trigger. They were a little bit split in their focus, and that allowed ARNY to be able to get out unscathed, and then the Vladimir wound up over-chasing just a little bit too much and wound up paying with his life for it. Meanwhile, in top lane, Yasuo is getting a lot of damage down. He got a plate. He's almost equalized the CS advantage, so it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen now that that teleport has been expended by the Darius. Massive wave is going to be missed by the bot laners on the side of ARNY. However, they still have a pretty significant CS advantage, and they are going to catch about half of this wave.
Do you remember if Varus is running magical boots? Because I feel like boots would be a better buy than the dagger there.
I am not sure. I don't see the secondaries, but yeah, we'll have to see. Well, he does have biscuits, so that means he is going...
Yeah, he's probably going magical boots. Yep. Vladimir doesn't quite have Proto Belt yet, so once he gets that, a bit more dangerous for the Veigar.
Yep.
It's got to be pretty close now. He's at 80 CS. I feel like he's probably within like 200-ish gold.
Yeah, it looks like both teams are resetting. How do you feel about this early game so far? How do you think that both teams are executing to their win conditions?
I feel like ARNY is definitely playing a little bit better towards their win condition. Well, I wouldn't say they're playing better towards their win condition. I think they're just mitigating...
Ultimate going down by the Varus and the Maokai. Callista's taken down immediately. Rakan is going to probably most likely go down as well. That's a one kill for the Maokai, one kill for the Varus, double kill in the bot lane. That's going to be a lot of pressure down on the bot lane tower.
And tragically, at the same time, they also had a gank going on top lane, so Gragas managed to push Darius out of lane as well. So I'd expect Yasuo to get a plate here.
Yep, so it looks like there's going to be significant bot lane pressure. They're going to lose all of this wave. Sejuani's coming down to help, but Gragas is getting the Rift Herald, and if he's able to kill it this early into the game, they're going to be able to summon it to get even more plates, either top side or mid.
Yeah, to continue that point from earlier, I actually don't think either team's really playing to their win condition much, so much as mitigating the other teams. Because I feel like Sejuani's been playing more around bot to try and stop the bleeding there, and Gragas has been playing more on top, but we have a fight going on again.
Yeah, I definitely think
Maokai
that the Varus should have probably just left the Maokai to die. I definitely think that was a little bit of an overstay. I understand that they wanted to go for that tower pressure, potentially get first tower, but that's definitely a classic overstay on the part of ARNY. Wind up giving up those kills. Gragas coming up in top lane, trying to gank the Darius. Gets the knock-up, but doesn't go for the Yasuo ultimate. There it is.
There it is.
Ooh.
And also, Gragas, not quite. Gragas does have the Rift Herald, though. They can get the tower here, I think.
Yeah, a little bit of a misplay. Let's see if they wind up summoning the Rift Herald. Yep, there's the Rift Herald going down. I don't think that's to be enough to kill the tower outright, but it should be 2 plates going down.
I think Darius gets hope here if he stays.
Yep, and there's the kill. Good job taking the tower aggro. And it should be first tower going over to ARNY. Varus lands the Kalista ultimate, Maokai ultimate coming in, and the Kalista is dead. That is actually a very scary combination between the Varus ultimate and the Maokai ultimate. They're using it very well. Very clear that they've practiced that in multiple games. And with the Kalista going down, that might be bot tower going down as well on the side of ARNY. So they'll be up 2 towers to 0. With the Drake spawning soon, they could rotate towards mid and create a lot of pressure and then set up for Drake.
And really bad news for the Darius as well. Yasuo steals away the red buff. That lane's just going to get harder from here.
So I'm curious to see how ARNY is going to transition this very strong early game into a strong mid game and be able to snowball the game out of control. See what their macro strategy is going to be. It looks like they're going to try and prioritize the Drake for right now, but there is a pink ward for red side on the Drake.
Yeah, Rakan is going and sweeping the river as well here, so maybe if they can get a decent back timing, they might be able to just sneak that one away. Looks like ARNY is roaming down for it maybe, though.
Kalista gets caught. That's just going to mostly be a dead kill for the Kalista.
I think it's 2. Rakan went to save her and just goes down as well.
Yeah, I definitely have noticed that both teams have a tendency to do that, where one person gets caught, they try to save them, and they wind up dying themselves. Definitely something to keep in mind. If your teammate's dead, there's no reason to die with them as well. Good job, actually, by the Vladimir and the Sejuani to try and push them off of the Drake, but I think they wind up overstaying. Darius is rotating down. I don't think he wants this fight, especially with the Yasuo flanking.
I'm surprised they didn't commit the Maokai ult to that earlier. I feel like, especially once the Darius got forked there, they could have caught all 3 in it, but they get 1 for it.
Yeah, I agree, but definitely still very good plays from ARNY. They're definitely in control of this game. Let's see if they're going to exert more pressure on the mid lane tower, or if they're going to retreat back towards the Drake.
I definitely think that going back for that Drake would be a better decision here. I think that the Kalista Vladimir has enough wave clear that they can't get anything mid. Looks like that's what they're doing.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Going for the mid lane tower is a bit ambitious, especially with some ultimates down. Drake is definitely free. There's no way that Mexico 2 can contest it. So definitely like that call. They probably want to reset. They've got a lot of gold in their pockets right now. And they definitely could reach some item power spikes soon. So yeah, multiple carries are on almost 2,000 gold. So I'm glad that they're all backing. Be able to come back onto the field with a lot more power. Darius is getting some alone time up in this top lane, but he's getting collapsed by the Maokai and the Yasuo. Yeah, Yasuo does have his ultimate, so if he does land the knock-up, he can go for it. Flash out from Darius. Yep, flash out from Darius, so that is Summoner Spell down. That's going to leave the Darius very open to another gank, especially since his tower is already down and he's pushed up.
Looks like they're mobilizing for something around bot lane, but I think they're...
Yeah, they're looking for a fight. That's a flash from the Dragons.
That's a bit ambitious, but it looks like it's actually working out. No,
Kalista gets knocked back. Yeah, so I went to being a kill going over. Ultimate comes down from the Yasuo, winds up getting the kill before the Darius can get the dunk down. I don't even know if that would have been enough to kill the Yasuo, even if it had connected.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on in that bot fight, but Kalista flashed forward, and I think she meant to flash away there and kind of committed too hard. I think she could have gotten out of that one.
Potentially, it might have been she was going for the heal instead of the flash and just accidentally hit the wrong key.
Yeah, she might have fat fingered it. I think she used both actually.
I definitely think that ARNY should be going more towards the mid lane now that they've pushed bot lane in. They're making the rotation now, but it's a little bit late. Gragas is coming in. He's saving his body slam. There we go. That's perfectly timed. It should be a kill.
Very pool by Vladimir.
Yep. Well played by the Gragas to actually hold on to the body slam as long as he could to guarantee the stun. They should be able to rotate to get this tower now. That'll be all 3 towers down on the side of ARNY.
Sejuani should leave this. I think she gets dove.
Yep, she's getting dove by the Maokai, but nobody's following up.
Maokai does get out of tower range before that Sejuani connects, though, so no damage done, really.
So right now, Mexico 2 is really on the back foot. How would you, if you were their coach, how would you encourage them to get back into the game?
I think that the biggest problem for them this game is that Sejuani hasn't really played to their win condition. She's been playing around bot when I really think they should have been snowballing top. I think the Darius Sejuani with the stacks on Sejuani passive could really snowball into that Yasuo, but...
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. XLR is a huge win condition for this team, and the natural synergy between the Sejuani and the Darius is very strong. So I definitely think they could have gone for that. We're getting some skirmishes all around the map. Looks like the Kalista is going to wind up getting a return kill. Maokai is just super tanky. So double kill for the Kalista. Gragas is almost going to go down.
Really unlucky fight there for the Vladimir. He finally got his Q back up right as that Gragas cast connected to finish him off. Could have been a really solid 4-for-0 for Mexico too, but still, you'll take the 4-for-1. That's really good in the position they're in.
Yeah, definitely. Mexico 2 cashing in quite a few of those shutdown kills. Gold lead is still about a little bit over 4K, about 4.5K in favor of ARNY. But definitely not within the realm of coming back on the side of Mexico 2.
It's actually about 5.5 instead of 4.5, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. It's now 5. Yeah. It's about 5.5. Yeah. Math is hard, guys.
Quick math.
Yeah. So it looks like with the pressure that they get with the double kill in bot lane, they should be able to get some good damage. Yasuo is coming in. If the Maokai commits his ultimate, they may be able to go for this. But I think that because they don't,
it doesn't look like they want to. They don't have vision on the map though. They don't
yeah, that's the thing. They don't know where the Sejuani is, so they don't really want to commit too hard for that. Vigar's matching up into the Darius. Darius looks like he should be able to turn this actually as long as he's...
I think the Veigar. Oh, Veigar has the Seraph shield though.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Darius wound up getting the kill. I think the Vigar was a little bit too ambitious. He doesn't have the AP yet to really burst down through that Darius, even though the Darius isn't going for a particularly tanky build. Sejuani ultimate onto the Maokai, targeting the support tank. Rakan's going in. That's the flash from the Varus. Ooh, well played by the Rakan to pull the Maokai back.
But oh my god.
Great ultimates from the Yasuo and the Varus. This might be multiple kills going down. Gragas' cast goes wide.
That was so unfortunate. The Rakan threw the Maokai right into the entire team and got a 3-man queue for the Yasuo ult.
Yeah, when I initially saw it, I thought it was a pretty good play by the Rakan to pull the Maokai back into his team, but because the Yasuo was right there, it winds up taking them to their death with that ultimate from the Yasuo.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. It was a good play by Rakan, but Yasuo unfortunately sitting there in fog, just waiting for it. Getting the dragon on the side of ARNY again, so...
Yeah, I definitely think that if you're ahead, you definitely want to go for every single objective you can. So definitely I'm glad to see that ARNY is looking to take every objective off the map. That bot inner tower is definitely still low, so that could be something that they could send the Yasuo to split push while they set up for Baron Vision.
Yeah, I think ARNY's done a really good job of keeping control over those objectives. They've gotten all 3 dragons. They've got the Rift Herald. I think they got it they got it pre-14 as well and got all the top tower plates off it. They've done a really good job around those objectives this game.
Yeah, Varus is going top lane. I don't think this is a very good choice to put your Varus in a solo lane when he's got a shutdown on his head. But we'll see if it winds up hurting them.
He does have the Bork Windsuit, so I think he can match up against the Darius if he has red buff like he does right now.
I do like the positioning of Mexico too. They're trying to punish this Yasuo if he wind up over pushing, but the Yasuo wisely backs off.
Unfortunately, all of them are kind of walking over that ward that's next to their blue buff, though, so ARNY should spot that one out.
Yeah, I definitely think that at least one more person on the side of Mexico 2 should be going for that sweeper so they can wind up getting some of that vision cleared out of their jungle. Mexico 2 is going to be really reliant upon getting some picks to allow them to get back into this game, so a second sweeper could be very useful.
I also think they could really use far sights, especially if ARNY starts setting up around...
Yasuo goes in.
Really nice.
Oh, Viger gets a kill mid. Winds up being a kill for the Yasuo. Gragas is going in, forcing the Kalista to flash. This could be bot inner tower going down. Maokai goes into the Sejuani. Gragas follows up and misses the body slam.
I would expect them to send 3 mid lane here and can probably take that.
Yeah, they're going to give up at least 1 tower here, potentially 2, depending on how Mexico 2 splits their team.
Yeah, Baby Cage goes...
That's the Darius going to be going down again.
Aggressive, man. Your tower just went down.
Yep, common mistake. Definitely don't want to defend the tower if it's going down anyway. Looks like we got a dive in bot lane. Maokai goes in on the Rakan, winds up getting the knock-up from the Yasuo, and that's going to be another tower going down in bot lane. They're still pushing mid lane, and Mexico 2 is really in a lot of trouble right now. They need to make a stand as a 5-man trying to get a pick onto ARNY if they're going to have any shot at coming back in this game.
I don't think that's your best bet. I think they probably should have waited for the Kalista on that one. But I guess it does work out. They do get 2 off it. Maybe just 1.
Yeah, when you're behind, you definitely want to try and focus on those number advantages. But they're actually able to make quite a good play off of it. Vladimir winds up getting a couple kills, and they're able to push off ARNY for at least a little bit longer. So right now, I would expect that I would want to see ARNY to set up for Baron control next.
Yeah, I agree with that. They have kind of just been ignoring it. They don't really have any vision around it at all. But they very easily could take the 5v5 for it or just sneak it away. Neither team really has any vision on that top side of map other than 1 control ward and top tri-bush that's kind of useless at this point.
Yeah, to be honest, there's 2 options they could go for. They can either go for the Yasuo split pushing in a 1-4 style where they have the 4 people pushing out mid lane and then dipping into Fog of War to go for the Baron, or they can group up as 5. Looks like they're going to elect to send the Yasuo bot lane. If anyone besides the Darius goes to try and match this Yasuo, that's a very clean Baron play that they can execute because it's only the Yasuo and the Darius have teleport.
Honestly, I feel like the win condition right now for Mexico 2 is to really just stall it out and let that Vladimir scale. Because the scaling I do think is better on ARNY's side, but Vladimir can just 1v5 team fights if he plays it really well. And I think that's really your only hope at this point, because your Vladimir is the one person who's really strong on your team.
Yep.
So if you can just get those strong team fights, you have the Darius, you have the Sejuani, you have the Rakan, you have good engage. Just set up for that Vladimir and he can knock him down.
So XLR winds up going down. He gets to the top inner turret, but he was the only point of pressure for his team on the map. So while he was getting collapsed upon, his team wasn't able to get any other objectives. Maokai ultimate coming down. Vladimir, Kalista, and Rakan running away. Vladimir gets caught, winds up pooling. Rakan pops his ultimate. Baby Cage goes down. That's going to be 2 dead at a bare minimum. Kalista gets knocked back. Flash forward from the Varus, that's 3 kills with the Yasuo also getting the bot inhibitor. This could be game right here if ARNY goes to push.
Don't worry about it. Sejuani stole blue buff. She'll 1v9. It's okay.
So it looks like ARNY is going for the kill. Death timers look like they're long enough. I think this is going to wind up being the game.
That's an unfortunate Sejuani ult.
Yep. 2 inhibitors down. Is ARNY going to go for this? Death timers are now about 10 seconds left. Rakan just came up. Kalista and Vladimir still have 8 seconds left. Nexus towers are down. They're on the Nexus. Looks like it's going to be GG for ARNY, 1-0. So what are your thoughts on that game? How do you think both teams played?
I don't know. I feel like both teams early didn't really play around their win conditions. I think both played to minimize the other teams more so because Gragas really played around top lane and Sejuani really played around bot, and I think that those roles should have been reversed. I think if the Sejuani played around top side and snowballed that lane, we could have seen a very different game. And I think that if Gragas played around bot side, I mean, honestly, I guess Gragas did a really good job because he minimized the risk that Darius had, but I still feel like it would have been better if they just played around bot side, personally.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I definitely think that the bot lane for ARNY, that is their win condition, and they definitely have shown that they have an advantage in the matchup. With this game one, I definitely think that Mexico 2 needs to go back to the drawing board, figure out whether they want to focus on getting their mid laner ahead or their top laner ahead. The Vladimir did the most damage on their team, so he could be someone that they could play through. But XLR, he is definitely known for playing those carry type champions, being very aggressive, so they could also prioritize top lane for game two. So with that, we're going to head into the intermission. Hope you guys enjoyed game one. Game two will be starting very shortly. All right, welcome back, everyone. We're back for Game 2 of ARNY versus Mexico 2. ARNY won Game 1. We're already into pick ban phase. ZZ Dog, what do you think about that Game 1 and the ban so far?
I think it's a really smart adaptation to ban the Maokai for one. That was really devastating for Mexico too in game one. Like, I don't know what you do against a pick like that, where it's really self-evident that you've never played against something like that, or very rarely, and it's just really caught you off guard. So I think it's
Yeah.
smart to just get rid of it.
Yeah, we have 3 bot lane bans coming out from Mexico 2 onto ARNY's bot lane. Definitely clear to them that the bot lane is what they want to focus, which I think is a good call since ARNY's bot lane is usually their win condition. And on the ARNY side, they've got 2 bans coming out against Mexico 2's top laner, arguably 3. He doesn't play Cho'Gath that much. But yeah, looks like we have very clear bot lane focus bans for Mexico 2 and top lane bans for ARNY.
See Tryndamere come out. That's a bit ambitious.
Yeah, that's pretty ambitious. The blind pick Tryndamere. It looks like yeah, they're very confident into whatever XLR could pick on the side of Mexico 2. Sejuani picked up again. I definitely think that's a fine pickup. Sejuani is just all around a great champion. It synergizes well with a lot of melee top laners.
Wonder if they'll run back the Darius as well here.
Yeah, that'll be actually very interesting.
Picking up the Ashe, okay.
So Ashe Nami makes a lot of sense. That's quite a bit of lot of CC coming into the bot lane for Mexico 2. A lot of more utility coming in as well. So even if that bot lane falls behind on Mexico 2's side, they can basically just play through their other lanes and still provide a lot of value to the team.
Is Varus a 525 or a 500 ADC range?
I forget off the top of my head, actually.
I think that the matchup went that Ashe beats Varus because she has the 25 extra range. So
I do believe that Ashe does outrange the Varus, and then also her poke is easier to land, her volley.
Yeah, especially with Nami, I feel like that's definitely going to help mitigate the strength of bot lane that we saw last game.
Ooh, looks like lots of bans to ban out the champions from last game, so we're not going to be seeing any Vladimir, Darius, or Veigar in game 2. Be interesting to see who the ARNY picks up for their next pick. I would assume it'd be their support. And they'd save the mid lane pick for the counter pick last. Morgana. So Varus Morgana. So CC for days in the bot lane. Definitely both sides are gankable for either the Sejuani or the Lee Sin.
Yeah, both these lanes are also really strong.
Mm-hmm.
I would expect a lot of jungle pressure down there because those are both really volatile lanes. You don't have any of those frontline tanks, so as soon as somebody gets hit by like one skill shot, they're just gone.
Kennen coming out, that
top.
could be a Kennen, most likely a Kennen top, could be potentially a Kennen mid, but definitely would lean more towards the Kennen top. And an Aatrox.
That's a double flex.
Yeah, that's a double flex, so they have no idea who's going mid and who's going top. That's actually really well played from Mexico too, to do that double flex.
I would suspect the Kennen into the Tryndamere. I think Aatrox into Tryndamere is a pretty bad matchup ever since they changed Aatrox's ult to not give you the reset until you kill somebody.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You wouldn't be able to get that reset on the Tryndamere when he's ultimating, or when he's in an ultimate form. So it's going to be interesting to see who winds up going mid and who winds up going top on the side of Mexico too. Seems pretty clear what the lane assignments are going to be on ARNY's side. But yeah, I definitely like the drafts from both sides. I definitely like Mexico 2's draft more in this game. But we'll wind up seeing who winds up getting the advantage in game 2.
Let's see if we get super baited and Morgana's actually going mid lane with the Annie support.
That actually is a potential possibility, but it makes a lot of sense to put the Morgana bot because she can negate both the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the Bubble and the Wave from the Nami, one of the 3, with her Spell Shield.
I think if you throw Morgana into Aatrox, it's actually super Morgana favored though.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can Black Shield all 3 Aatrox Qs without getting knocked up. I highly doubt that's the case though.
Yeah.
So let's see here. I think Kennen into Tryndamere is assuming that's what it is a winning matchup for the Kennen.
Mhm.
Aatrox into Annie, I feel like is Annie favored. The Lee Sin can probably snowball that Tryndamere Aatrox match, or the Tryndamere Kennen matchup in the favor of Tryndamere, though.
Mhm.
I would expect him to start topside because I don't see a world where Lee Sin can get a pre-level 6 gank in on the Ashe Nami unless they're super out of position.
Yeah, I think
Because,
that
like,
the top lane focus is definitely the right call. This is a super volatile lane that could easily, either side could easily run away. And if either the Tryndamere or the Aatrox get ahead, or the Kennen, if any one of them get ahead, then it's going to be very hard for the other team to deal with them.
I also think Annie sets up really easily for a Lee Sin gank, especially if it's an Aatrox. So that might also be a pretty good point of pressure for Arnie.
Yeah, that's
I don't
definitely a
know.
valid point. Aatrox definitely is going to struggle trying to deal with the Tibbers, and that can actually set up very well into a lead kick.
Remaking the lobby here.
Alright, so sorry for the delay. Looks like there is a remake in the lobby. Uh, we will get you some information on what
Picked one
happened.
of their
Oh,
bans.
yep. Accidentally picked one of the bands by accident. So we are going to remake.
Hmm.
So game one was definitely very Arnie focused. I think that a lot of that had to do with the junglers both focusing on the same lane, and the Arnie jungler just wind up being a little bit uh, more successful in those bot lane ganks. It's gonna be interesting to see if they continue to both prioritize the same lanes or if they're going to switch things up to try and basically just trade objectives and trade uh, lanes that have the power. All right, so we're back into the draft. Teams are just going through the picks that we've already decided in the pro draft. Then we will have that 3-minute spectator delay before we can actually get into game. Definitely let your comments, leave your thoughts in the comments to let us know who you think is going to win, what you think about the picks and bans, all that fun stuff. So if it winds up being the Kennen into the Tryndamere matchup, I think that's going to be Kennen favored early on. That range versus melee matchup can usually be pretty hard, but once they hit level 6, I think all bets are off. If Tryndamere times his ultimate well, he should be able to ride it through the stuns from the Kennen and his ultimate and potentially get a kill. Kennen's going to have to use his Lightning Rush at the most opportune time in order to escape from the Tryndamere if he winds up losing that health advantage. If it winds up being the Aatrox into the Annie, Aatrox is actually quite strong in the early game with his triple Q, especially level 1. I think the Annie's going to most likely want to just farm it out until she gets at least level 3. Then she can start playing a lot more aggressive with her stun in order to basically negate the Aatrox's all-in combo, things like that. And then as far as bot lane is concerned, I think this one's really a toss-up. Varus, Ashe are both pretty safe in lane. They've got decent poke damage, decent wave clear. And then the Nami Morgana, I think that's going to be where the skill really lies in this matchup. Whether the Morgana can negate the CC with her black shield, whether she can land her Qs, whether Nami's able to get her poke down and also land her bubbles. So definitely a skill matchup from the support side of things. So it'll be interesting to see who's able to get the advantage in the bot lane. How's it going, ZZ Dog? You back?
Yeah, Sorted out my internet issues. We restarted the modem. We're good.
All right, well, we're almost done with pick ban phase in the client, and we'll be getting into the game shortly after that. Gone through all of the matchups. I definitely think that the Kennon's going to have the advantage until about level 6 on the Tryndamere with that range versus melee matchup. As far as mid lane concerned, oh, it is the Morgana mid, it looks like, and it's the anti support.
Ah, okay. I knew it all along. I swear. Okay.
So I think you're right. I think this Morgana into Aatrox is going to be really interesting because the Aatrox is not going to be able to break the black shield. So Morgana's going to basically be able to walk through all of his Qs. I'm very curious to see how this lane is going to play out. I have not seen it. I don't think I've seen it ever. I don't think I've seen Aatrox into Morgana ever. So I'm very interested to see how this lane plays out.
From my experience, it's definitely Morgana favored, especially because that black shield blocks all of those Aatrox Q knockups. He can't really get any of that CC down, and she just kind of walks away from his all-in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would expect to have happen. I'm interested to see if the Kennen goes for that all-any sort of phase rush, or if he goes for the Klepto to just passively get that lead.
Yeah. I think Klepto would be the good call just because it's a range versus melee matchup. You can keep that item advantage over the Tryndamere and just continuously just poke him out. This definitely changes the dynamic in the bot lane, though, because now there's definitely a lot more kill potential with the Morgana mid. If the Ashe is able to land her arrow, or the Nami is able to land a bubble or her ultimate, that could be a kill onto the Varus or the Annie. Conversely, the Varus and the Annie could do the same thing. So it's really going to be whoever pulls the trigger first that is more accurate with their abilities.
Yeah, I would expect that the Varus Annie is favored because of Annie specifically. Annie is really good at poking out, but Nami can mitigate that with the W though, so I think the all-in is definitely favored towards the Varus Annie though.
Yeah.
If the lane goes long though, I think that Ashe Nami out sustains.
Yeah, I think that Nami and Ashe definitely have more of the poke sustained advantage. Just through the Nami W and the the Ashe volley is a lot easier to hit than any of the Varus abilities, and also on lower cooldowns. So I definitely think that they have the advantage in more of those extended fights. But yeah, just the explosive power of a Tibbers into a Varus ultimate is going to be a lot of scary burst damage on the side of ARNY.
I think burst damage is kind of just the name of the game in general. For ARNY, you have the Tryndamere, the Lee Sin, Annie. Like, if you don't get that one shot off really quick, Mexico's 2's re-engage is really strong.
Mm-hmm.
The Kennen ult, the Sejuani ult, Nami ult, there's a lot of disengage and a lot of re-engage there.
Yeah, one potential disadvantage is the Morgana late game for Morgana mid is not great. And the Tryndamere is not great in team fights either. So they're going to be really reliant upon this Varus and any late game team fights that break out. So they're going to have to do a really good job protecting him and keeping him alive as long as possible. They may also decide to go just for a straight up 1-4 and rely upon that Tryndamere in order to split push them to victory. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Sejuani tries to prioritize top lane to get the Kennen ahead.
Yeah, I feel like the Lee Sin should definitely be prioritizing bot this game, though. Like, we saw ARNY last game go for that bot lane. Or, no, ARNY went for top lane, and I think that that's incorrect this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you have a lot of burst potential, even free 6 with Handy Varus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Varus W damage does so much, and the Lee Sin has the execute. I think that you can very easily 100-0 somebody level 3 with that lane.
Yep.
It'd be really hard, like I said earlier, to get that free 6 gank with Lee Sin, because there's not much setup for it unless you have any, like, flash W, but I think that you could do it.
Well, the Ashe and the Nami don't have any type of escapes except for their flash. So if they wind up getting the push advantage, I think that that could open them up to a level 3 gank if Lee Sin's able to execute a good ward hop. But yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see where the junglers prioritize that early game pressure. And yeah, how the early game plays out. I think that these lanes are very explosive, especially top lane and bot lane. If either one of them gets ahead, it's going to be very hard for the other teams to come back without significant jungler intervention.
I think it would actually be really smart to, on the side of Lee Sin, to force the Sejuani into vertical jungling. I think if the Lee Sin vertical jungle spot side, he could create a ton of pressure for that and really help Arnie get that lead. And Sejuani can't really stop him from forcing her into that situation either. She can't fight him very early. Lee Sin is much stronger than her in that level 2 to 3.
Yeah, definitely. Sejuani definitely wants to avoid any type of early game skirmishes with the Lee Sin in the jungle. I definitely could see the Lee Sin trying to go for those river fights, go for those scuttle crabs. Sejuani probably wants nothing to do with it. She wants to just basically do either a full clear or a level 3 clear into a gank. Looks like ARNY is grouping up. They're going for an invade on this bot side. They spot the Ashe, flash from the Ashe almost immediately. I think that was a bit premature, but she went up flashing it out. Summoner spell down on the side of Mexico too.
Yeah, that's really tragic for the side of Mexico too, because you have Arnie with a much stronger bot lane, and now without that flash, it makes Lee Sin actually have.
Kennen is face checking into the Tryndamere. Tryndamere might get the all in. There's a flash. Oh, and a fail flash from the Tryndamere. So flash for flash in top lane. Kennen's going to wind up having to back. He's going to be late to lane. So the Tryndamere is going to get the early advantage in experience.
Kennen does go for that Klepto, though, so he should be fine and still get that gold lead racked up, but Fear the All-In is much stronger now.
Yeah. ARNY winds up getting a ward on this red buff, so they're going to know exactly where the Sejuani is starting her pathing. They might be able to get some information on where she's going after she clears her red buff. So far, ARNY is coming out with a significant advantage over Mexico 2. So Lee Sin is pathing right behind the Varus. It looks like they're going to try and contest this bush, potentially go for a level 2 gank. This is very risky. Andy's taking a very weird pathing.
Out. Lee Sin misses Q.
I don't necessarily like that play. I don't think there's any reason to go for that kind of cheesy of a play. They already had a good advantage. If they played just a little bit more standard, they could have easily snowballed that lead.
Yeah, and Annie just kind of loses half of her health bar in a pot for that.
Tryndamere winds up getting a level 2 first, and he immediately all-ins the Kennen.
That is really surprising to me. I'm surprised Kennen wasn't able to get that push. Kennen started Q level 1, actually. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Kennen was a little bit late to lane because he had to wind up backing, so that's what allowed Tryndamere to get that early level 2 push, which is exactly what you don't want to see, because now he's stacked up his rage. He's going to be very scary in any type of all-in fight.
Aatrox is getting a pretty decent CS lead mid lane. Which is a bit surprising to me. Usually I think this is a pretty Morgana favored matchup.
Oh yeah, definitely agree. Sejuani wound up warding the blue buff of the Lee Sin. I don't think she spotted him. Lee Sin has cleared his 3 camps on bot side going towards top side. Sejuani's done the same, but she's a little bit slower. She did go for that ward. Looks like the bot lane for ARNY is content to let this Ashe Nami push them in. I'm wondering if they're trying to potentially set up for an all-in since the Ashe flash is still down.
I would tend to agree with that, except Lee Sin's still pathing towards top side, so I kind of doubt there's a fight over the scuttle, maybe?
Lee Sin winds up getting it, and now he's able to still land the Q. Sejuani's in a lot of trouble right now. She winds up getting the stun. Tryndamere and Morgana have the push. Sejuani should be forced out for jungle. Lee Sin should be able to steal this blue buff. That's a flash from the Sejuani. Yeah, she definitely needs to just give this up.
The Aatrox is going in onto the Morgana and the Tryndamere. Yeah, that was just unfortunate. I don't know what the call was there, but Sejuani should have just left as soon as Lee Sin came in on that scuttle.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the disadvantages of playing a tanky jungler into a more carry jungler. Lee Sin looks like he's going to try and stick around for this blue buff. Winds up going over to the Kennen.
And he has to burn flash for it.
Yeah, so good collapse by the Aatrox and the Kennen in order to secure the blue buff for the side of Mexico 2. They didn't have to give up too much on that play as far as their lanes are concerned, too, because both lanes were pushed out. I'm definitely surprised that this Morgana is not able to establish lane priority against the Aatrox. She might need to get a few more points in her W before she's able to really clear those waves as fast as the Aatrox can. Nice bit of damage traded so far, but the Morgana is almost out of mana. Same with the Nami. They're trying to trade onto this. There's a TP coming in from the Aatrox. They're going to all in the Nami. Nami winds up flashing. Varus flashes aggressively forward, winds up going down to the Aatrox. Sejuani coming in. She needs one more ability, not able to get it. Cooldowns are not there. I definitely like that play. That was a very proactive play from the Aatrox, doing that teleport down. However, I do disagree with the Aatrox sticking around to try and push out this lane. I think he wants to try and rotate back up to mid as soon as possible. So right now in the jungle, we've got Lee Sin, who's got a 12 CS advantage on the Sejuani. Sejuani looks like she's about half a level to a level down in experience. This is what I would expect in this matchup. Lee Sin is definitely just an extremely strong early game jungler, and really just the Sejuani wants to try to avoid him at all costs. If the Lee Sin tries to invade on the Sejuani, then basically you just give up those camps. You try to basically trade camps on the other side, go into vertical jungling if you need to, rely on the laners that you have that have lane priority, but really you cannot fight that Lee Sin, at least until level 6. Continuing to get some trading in top lane. Both the Kennen and the Tryndamere are level 6. Aatrox is still level 5. Morgana is able to hit level 6 as well. There is an opening for this Morgana to potentially all in. Now that level 6 has come, I don't think she's going to be able to have the damage to kill the Aatrox. Tryndamere's going in. Lee Sin is ganking mid. Let's see if the Aatrox goes for his ultimate or if he's just going to wind up giving up the kill. Yep, winds up getting the kill. Ignite down for the Morgana. Great gank from the Lee Sin, taking advantage of that early game pressure that he has over the Sejuani.
Oh, we back. Storms in the Midwest mixed with poor Midwestern internet equals no chance of me doing anything.
It's alright, I'm holding down the fort here. Lee Sin's going on to the Drake right now. Tryndamere looks like he's wanting to go for a potential all-in. Kennen goes in, but he's going to wind up having to flash out. I think that was a little bit ambitious from the Kennen. Lee Sin's going to wind up securing this Drake with help from the Morgana. So that's an Ocean Drake going over to ARNY. That's definitely going to help them a lot, especially in this bot lane, which seems to be more of a poke battle. And I think the Morgana is going to really favor that mana regen against this Aatrox, who can basically just spam out his abilities on cooldown over and over again.
Yeah, I'm trying to get caught up right now. Let's see here.
Now that Morgana's got a couple points into her W, it looks like she's able to keep up with the lane push equal to the Aatrox. Lee Sin's coming in for another gank, winds up hitting the Q, goes in on it, dashes back out again, all in bot lane. Ashe winds up having to flash. Ignite is down. Tibbers is chasing her. I don't think that she's going to wind up getting the kill. She needs to pull the Tibbers back or he's just going to wind up dying to tower. Yep, pulls them back. Morgana winds up getting a binding onto the Aatrox to assuage any aggression from the Sejuani. The bot lane for ARNY is continuing to push in. They potentially get a plate, especially with the Tibbers.
Alright, looks like I'm finally caught up. Okay.
So one plate going down on the side of ARNY. And they wind up backing off. I think they could have stayed a little bit longer, potentially get one more plate. It looks like they might have reached an item power spike. They want to get a good back off.
I wonder if the Varus gets Cutlass shoes here, maybe?
Definitely getting Cutlass. Cutlass,
yep.
Yeah, Cutlass double daggers. Lee Sin's on his red. Sejuani's pathing around this top side, but she's backing now. There's an opportunity for this Lee Sin to go for an all-in. Tryndamere dashes forward into the minions, winds up losing most of his health bar. Looks like we're looking to see a lane swap coming out from on the side of ARNY. Varus and the ARNY are going towards top side. Very interesting to see them go for this.
I guess they want to mitigate that Kleptomancy gold that Kennen is getting here. But I'm a bit confused. I feel like the Varus and the Annie should probably stay in the 2v2. They have the advantage in the 2v2. It's a bit weird that they're just shifting it around.
Yeah, I definitely thought that the Varus and the Annie had the advantage in the 2v2, but yeah, I think this is an attempt to bail out the Tryndamere out of this lane with the Kennen. Let's see if Mexico 2 winds up trying to match this lane swap. It's also actually a pretty good play from ARNY to go for the lane swap, because now this opens them up to potentially getting the Rift Herald if Mexico 2 does not match them in the lane swap. It looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. So it looks like the call was that they wanted to go for the Rift Herald immediately because they had already gotten the Drake in the box side. There's no objective for Mexico 2 to trade on the bot side of the map.
I do think that you're fine with this, though, if you're Mexico 2. You may lose that Herald and potentially a couple plates top lane. I doubt they get the full tower. And it really bails out your bot lane. You have the scaling advantage. I think you're fine with this.
Yeah, let's see if they're able to exert any pressure on bot lane. The longer they stay in these lanes, I think it's going to be disadvantageous. Lee Sin goes in, winds up getting the kill in the Kennen. Kennen stepping up just a little bit too far.
I stand corrected. I guess they will get the top tower.
So yeah, that's a common mistake. If you're in that 1v2 style lane, you basically just have to hug tower as long as you can. And it looks like ARNY is going to wind up getting this first tower with the 3 versus 2 advantage, and also having the Rift Herald on their side.
I think I'm going to go back and rewatch how that dive happened, because Kennen had ult and stopwatch there. Just need to see exactly what happened.
So Tryndamere is doing it much better. He's just staying under tower.
Okay.
He's taking a lot of damage, but he still has ultimate available if he needs to. Rift Herald's going to get another charge off, so now I would definitely recommend that ARNY wants to swap back into their bot lane, going bot again, so that way they can set up for this Drake that's coming up soon.
Yeah, it looks like Kennen just face-checked top river bush without having any vision after they had just taken Herald and got an Annie ult to the face. It's a bit unfortunate.
Yep. Yeah, you definitely have to keep your ear open for any of those sounds of the Rift that will let you know where the enemy team is. You can hear the Drake die, you can hear the Rift Herald die. That's often an indication whether or not your lane's going to be ganked in a very short period of time.
See here, Dragon's spawning here pretty soon, and Lee Sin's pathing towards bot side.
Looks like they're going to go for a 3v2 with the Tryndamere and the Lee Sin coming down. Nami gets caught. That wants to be an Ashe ult onto the Tryndamere. I don't think that's going to work very well because the Tryndamere still has his ultimate. Lee Sin goes in. They wind up getting the kill onto the Ashe. There's a kick from the Lee Sin, but there's no Q follow-up.
His Q hit that caster minion right in front of him there. It's a bit unlucky for him.
But with the Ashe down, that should be at least one more plate for bot side, and they can go into going for the second Ocean Drake of the game, potentially.
And that's really crucial for them, because that allows the Tryndamere to just sit up here in that lane against the Kennen and not worry about getting harassed down when he has that one Ocean Drake. With 2, it just becomes even harder for the Kennen to really harass him out at all, and it just slowly becomes a Tryndamere favorite lane because of that all-in.
Yep, I think that that ARNY's making a slight mistake still trying to pressure this tower, but they are able to get the Sejuani. But now the Ashe and the Nami are back into lane, so it's a 4v3. Dive by the Morgana, that's very ambitious. Turret plating goes down, Morgana has to wind up flashing out. Stun onto the Aatrox, Aatrox has his ultimate activated, Lee Sin goes in, Aatrox is able to get the ultimate refreshed. That's 2 kills going down for Mexico.
Morgana does black shield that Aatrox W though, so she does get out, but I feel like that's just such an overstep.
I definitely agree with you. I think that ARNY was doing some really masterful macro. The way they were rotating around the map, they did the lane swap, they got the Rift Herald, they got the first tower, they rotated back down to bot lane, they were setting up for the Drake. They didn't need to pressure that tower. There was no real reason to go for that. They could have just retreated back up to the Drake, gotten a free Drake, and then went to try and pressure bot lane again.
Still continuing bot lane.
Flash forward from the Ashe.
Unlucky by the Morgana. Binding hits that melee minion right in front of Ash.
So now with those 2 kills, gold is almost even. Only about 700 gold separating these 2 teams now, and there is the potential.
Those kills are like 5 kills on the Ash.
Yeah, there is the potential now for Mexico 2 to go for this Drake and to equalize them.
Yeah, you have that winning lane for the side of Arnie, but now since this Ashe is just so astronomically far ahead that I just don't think you can ever burst her down. I expect she goes for the Gwinsu's build. Maybe she goes for the Hurricane first, but either way, she's just gonna have so much wave clear and so much pressure. She is going for that Hurricane.
Yep.
So she can pretty much just walk up into lane, clear it against the Annie. The Annie will never have a chance to burst her down, and then that just like totally destroys all that pressure bot side. And Kennen, while it's not going to last forever, he still has that advantage top. He can still harass that Tryndamere down because you didn't get that second Ocean. It just feels like such a misstep to not go for that Dragon.
Well, it looks like it's not. They're not going to be punished for it.
Though.
They are going to get that second Drake.
Mexico 2 is mobilizing to contest, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely think they're a little bit behind the 8-ball in this one. Aatrox has to use his ultimate, and he winds up getting out. But yeah, I definitely think a missed opportunity for Mexico 2. They could have pressured for that Drake with those kills that they had gotten.
Yeah, I think that one thing to highlight, though, is that Mexico 2 is really just getting a lot of defensive vision here, but not really worrying about any offensive vision to go for plays of their own, which they are in a position to make plays themselves. They're only down 700 gold. They can go for offensive plays, but they're really just playing reactive, and I think that's hurting them this series.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I mean, they did make some very good reactive plays, but I would like to see a little bit more proactiveness out of them, especially since they've now equalized the gold. Lee Sin's coming up to gank top lane. Kennen's trying to get out. He winds up getting hit with the Q. Flash is down. Smite is down.
He does have stopwatch.
Tryndamere still has ultimate. I think this is going to be a bad fight for the Sejuani. She winds up fail flashing the wall, so Sejuani is going to wind up going down as well. Another kill going over to the Tryndamere. Now 2-0-1. Annie's sitting in this bush waiting for Flash Tibbers. There's the combo that we were expecting, and that's a massive shutdown for the Varus. So that's a lot of gold going into Varus' pockets. Another flash forward into the stun. Heal comes down from the Varus. Nami winds up walking away with her life, just barely, but this could be bot tower going down in favor of ARNY.
You know, I'm really surprised that Kennen didn't go for the alt stopwatch play there. He had the stopwatch the whole time. He actually just upgraded into Zonia's, never used it. I feel like they maybe could have turned onto that Lee Sin if he got the alt stopwatch off there.
Yeah, definitely a possibility, but the Tryndamere still had ultimate, and I think it would have been a very tall task since the Kennen did not have a lot of health to spare into that 2v2. And the Lee Sin also still is a lot stronger than the Sejuani. So in general, I wouldn't want to go into equal number fights if I was Mexico 2 right now, unless it was the Ashe. The Ashe is where pretty much all of your gold is. So you can fight even fights with the Ashe, but anywhere else, you need to have a man advantage.
Ashe does now finish that Runons, though, so if they can get a mid-game team fight, I think that they actually do have a very strong 5v5.
Yeah, so now all eyes are on Z-Man to be carrying on this Ashe pick. He's currently 5-2. There's the ultimate that comes down. Aatrox is dead. Ultimate for the Sejuani. Morgana winds up going golden for a second. Lee Sin going in on the Nami. Winds up getting the kill. Ashe ultimate is down. Ashe winds up getting stunned. I don't think she's going to get this kill. Yep. Lee Sin winds up getting the double kill. That's going to be mid-tower, getting a lot of pressure put on it.
And once again, I want to put this highlight on the vision. You can just see all of these pink wards in the river for the side of ARNY, and just there's not really anything you can do on the side of Mexico 2. You have no idea where anyone is. There's people coming out of the woodworks from that bottom river brush on that fight, and you just have no idea they're there because you just don't have any offensive vision. All of your vision is on that bot side jungle. It's not expiring now, but like you really need to get some wards out on the map. I'd be interested to see what the vision scores were for this game and the last, actually.
Yeah. So Tryndamere is split pushing. He winds up having to E out, dodges the Kennen Q. Winds up getting stunned. He may be dead. Oh, winds up spinning away. His Chilling Smite goes down. Aatrox ultimate goes down for the movement speed. Flash from the Tryndamere. Still being chased. Meantime, there's a lot of pressure on mid lane from ARNY. Good job by the Tryndamere to basically take them for a ride and just chase them all around Summoner's Rift. Almost looks like we have a Singe in the game right now. Tryndamere is still alive, still spinning around, still almost
still
out.
As well. And he just walks right out.
Wow, very impressive by the Tryndamere. Kennan's on the backside. He could get a massive ultimate coming in. Needs a stopwatch. Lee Sin winds up getting the kick, goes in, gets the kill, gets out. Very well played by ARNY. They wind up losing no one in that fight. They've got blinking health bars on multiple members. Great job juggling the aggro, making sure that they don't lose anyone in that fight. And that's 2 kills going over to ARNY in that fight.
Yeah, I think another thing to highlight here is all of the tier 1 boots on the side of Mexico 2. It's like, it would have really helped if they had upgraded shoes there for that. They were chasing the Tryndamere, maybe could have caught him if you had upgraded boots. You were chasing them down mid lane, maybe could have caught somebody with upgraded boots.
Yeah, I think right now they're just a little bit too gold starved, especially on the top side of the map. All that gold is in the side of Ash's pockets.
Actually, I think that specifically mid lane, there's just huge disparity.
All right, Infernal Drake is spawning. This is going to be something that both teams are going to want to fight over. It looks like ARNY has got the positional advantage. Let's see if Mexico 2 wants to face check into this ARNY team that has just gone back and bought again. Just standing around watching the objective. Annie ult goes down. Kennen winds up going out. Fight over the Drake. Tryndamere winds up going down. Ash is still alive. Winds up going down to the Annie. Back and forth team fight. Winds up being a 2-for-1. So far, Lee Sin's still chasing though. 3-for-1 on the side of ARNY.
I think crucially there again is just the vision. Kennen walks right into the Annie R and just doesn't get to do anything that team fight. I think if you have that Kennen all the proto belt, maybe you can actually turn that. You killed the Tryndamere right at the start, but you just didn't have enough oomph in the tank for it because you just didn't have that wombo combo there.
Yeah, vision control and vision denial has been really huge. ARNY definitely has a pretty strong catch composition with both the Lee Sin, Morgana, Annie, Varus, tons of crowd control, tons of burst damage coming down. So pretty much any bush that you try to check, it could be certain death. The only person who could really face check right now is the Sejuani, and even she is not that tanky yet. She's got a lot of health, but not much resistances.
You know, I would actually like to see a lot of Farsights coming out of the side of Mexico 2 right now. They have no Farsights. I think if you go like 3 or maybe even 4 Farsights instead of your Trinket Wards, it might actually benefit you more. You're doing a lot of phase checking.
Yeah, definitely. I'd also like to see some sweepers coming out so they can start pushing back that vision line, sweeping out that vision that's in their jungle. They have to know that the vision is down. They need to be checking those bushes. It looks like they've been walking over multiple wards and haven't been clearing them. Yeah, Nami, again, walks over another pink ward, doesn't see it, doesn't clear it. Annie's coming in, winds up landing the stun. Sejuani's a bit caught out, but she's super tanky. I wind up seeing the pink ward.
Ash's gonna find the other one.
So good job by ARNY sweeping out this vision. They're trying to establish control in bot lane. I don't think this is where they want their priority to be, though. They've already got the bot inner tower down. They should be trying to prioritize more mid and top so they can set up to get that top inner tower and also set up to go for the Baron. Sejuani ultimate goes wide, going on to the Varus. Flash forward from the Kennen. Annie gets a massive Tibbers ultimate. 2 people going down on the side of Mexico 2. That should be Baron. The jungler is down. So they should be pathing towards Baron right now. Lee Sin goes in. He might wind up dying to this. Stopwatches, but he's definitely dead. It's just a question of who they're going to give the kill to. Winds up going to the Nami. I definitely think that they should have tried to give it to the Ashe, the Aatrox. But with the Lee Sin going down, that means they can't go for Baron now. So definitely a misplay from the Lee Sin. No reason to try and go in and execute that Nami under tower with Baron on the table. Double kill winds up going over to the Tryndamere. This will at least be a tower going in favor of ARNY. They definitely are, I'm seeing flashes of brilliance out of them, but also they're just getting a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too cocky at times as well.
You know, one thing I would really like to see out of the side of Mexico 2 right now is Quicksilver Sashes, because they're getting caught off by a lot of things, like Morgana binding, the flash tibbers. I think if you have QSS, that really helps. The Ashe appears to be going for Infinity Edge, and I really disagree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially going for the Cloak of Agility over finishing Berserker's Greaves.
Yeah,
Or
even a Mikhail's on the Nami would be fantastic to just help your teammates get out of trouble.
yeah, I think that they're really just falling farther and farther behind because one, they're not buying shoes, so they can't run away from these super hard engages,
Mm-hmm.
and they also aren't buying tools to get themselves out of these like quick
Sejuani
CCs
goes
that can
in
come out of
over the
fog.
wall into the Baron pit. She's most likely going to go down. It's a 3v1, 4v1. She winds up going down. This could be Baron if they want it. They've got complete vision control. Tryndamere's on it. Looks like they're going to go back towards it. This should be a free Baron, especially with Ashe from the bot side pushing. They might be able to trade a tower on the side of Mexico too, though, as well. But a tower for a Baron is never the play you want to make unless you're really far behind.
And, you know, that's really one of those times you would have loved to see one of those far side wards go out. It's really unlucky Sejuani just phase checking into 4 people because she has no idea what's going on. Like, look at that. There's 3 pink wards around that Baron pit right now.
Yep, definitely a good call on those far sites. Also, using that Ashe Hawk shot could be very useful in order to be able to face check into those dangerous areas of the jungle that are not warded.
Looks like mid tower might go down here.
We've got an
Nami
engage
also.
from the Nami. The Varus winds up flashing even though he's got Black Shield on him. Morgana flashes
The engage is
aggressively.
coming
Tibbers
through,
is
though.
going down. That's 2 kills going down. This should be mid
Sejuani,
inhibitor.
though. See, we talked about the Nunu pick really not panning out last week for side of Mexico too, and I gotta say, I'm thinking the Sejuani might be in the same boat. There's been a lot of ults that have gone wide these past 2 games. I think they may need to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah. So mid inhibitor is going down. They're pushing onto the Nexus towers. Sejuani is the only one up. Kennan's up coming up in a few seconds, but this could be the game. So it looks like ARNY is going to wind up 2-0ing Mexico 2 GG.
That means they are going to tie for first place, I believe, in
Yeah.
the standings, right?
So with ARNY, ARNY was actually 0-2 before this game started. Now they're 2-2, so they're tied for 3rd place. Yeah. Mexico 2 was 1-1. They now dropped to 1-3. So definitely some shakeups in the standings now. We're going to go into the post-game lobby and see what the damage numbers show. I definitely think that both teams could have wound up winning that game, but there definitely were some mistakes on both sides, but the macro of ARNY is very strong. I definitely have to praise them on that.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that with some simple like itemization changes and a little bit, I think that the jungle should definitely be playing more around bot side on the side of Mexico too. But you shore up that, I think you look pretty good despite the losses. I think that they may look pretty bad, but it was small things that compounded.
Yeah, definitely. I think that you're absolutely right. Is that a few itemization changes, a few warding trinket changes, and Mexico 2 definitely could have had a better chance of coming back into that game too. Definitely have to give a lot of praise to ARNY. They did a great job just stifling all of that vision. They were buying tons of pink wards. They were setting up all sorts of death brushes. That Annie with her tibbers was absolutely terrifying. And they were doing a really good job following up on that CC, chaining CC together. They definitely went a little bit too aggressive at times. But all in all, I definitely think that it was a really strong showing from ARNY in this Week 2 matchup.
I agree, and I think their vision control was really the highlight for me. They had so much control, especially in that second game. Just that, I think from like 10 minutes in onward, there's just no blue wards in the river at all. There's just all red wards for the side of ARNY. It's ridiculous.
Matt, asking people to show the vision score. So I'll show that as well. I gotta take the damage off. So the Annie coming through with a considerable amount of vision score. So yeah, that's it. ARNY wins 2-0. We're going to be signing off now. I hope you guys enjoyed the games. See you all next time.